that tape, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all once again for coming to the call today. A lot of information to cover. Just a reminder, and I mentioned this a minute ago, please do set your phones to mute. There will be an opportunity at the end for you to ask questions, but at the beginning here, we want to run through a list of different updates. So please set that on mute. So I want to get things kicked off. I do want to, before jumping into some of the more business-related stuff, I wanted to talk a little bit about community and specifically what's happening with a number of our nonprofits in trying to serve our area. So I've asked Emily Mara from the Genesee Shiawassee United Way to be on the call today to talk about what they're doing, what other nonprofits are doing, and a new fund that has been established to try to support community needs. So, Emily, can you give everyone an update?
Hi, good morning. Yes, can everyone hear me? Can you hear me okay, Justin?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for all that you and the Chamber and SEDP are doing for Shiawassee County to respond to this COVID crisis. I think it's impressive how our community can come together, even though we have to stay apart. So thank you for everything. The United Way, yes, has established a fund. The fund is basically going to provide financial assistance for essential needs in Shiawassee County to individuals who are affected by COVID-19. So there are quite a few families or generational poverty we've heard of individuals who understand what it means to apply for food stamps or for G card or, for some sort of bridge card, and basically having their essential needs met. We do have the Salvation Army, the Catholic Charities, Red Cross. Our first responders are still, of course, United Way, working diligently to serve this community. And we realize that community is going to be growing because of people maybe being out of work, having to be laid off, not being able to do their own consulting or contracting work. So, it affects us completely. And thanks to the United Way, we are now, of course, partnered with Genesee County, which regrettably, because of their experience through the Flint water crisis, they are probably our best partner and best advocate, as well as Shiawassee Health and Wellness, to be connected with. The Emergency Operations Center is also who this fund is being held by. So basically, the United Way, the Cook Family Foundation, Meyer, and Consumers Energy have all made donations to start this fund. But now we're asking those who are able to contribute to make a gift online at raiseupshiawassee.org. And asking for a gift in this time where everyone's trying to figure out how they're going to pay their staff, I know is very, I don't know. I kind of had mixed feelings coming on and talking about this because of the crisis that so many people are experiencing. But there have been companies who have reached out and who do want to offer support and who do want to give back. We at Raise Up Shiawassee, understand that not everyone can give monetarily, but you do have time or you do have goods that could be donated to these locations. I mean, of course, paper products are at a minimum everywhere and everyone's trying to find them. Also sanitizer. So you think of places like Meals on Wheels is still running. So the Shiawassee Council on Aging is still making an impact within the community and doing the services that they need to be doing, but they need simple things like sanitizer and hand wipes to keep their team members safe. So in looking at our community, we've created not only this fund, but also this hotline through Shiawassee Health and Wellness. And they are just, they're wonderful with having set up this hotline. We've also reached out to all of the nonprofit agencies and provided them with a survey to give us feedback on what their needs currently are. Are they still open, first and foremost, and can we direct individuals to this service, and what services are they able to provide at this time? Do they need support with those services? So additionally, as Justin is reaching out to the business contacts and everyone who's a stakeholder within Shiawassee County as a business owner, United Way is working alongside our agencies to make sure that we are offering those who have been affected financially the support that they're needed within our community. Going back to what Emily Barney mentioned last week, the census is so important, and the more that you can recommend your team members and your colleagues and any friends even, just advocate for taking the census, because it is going to make an impact within our community, and hopefully it can be a positive impact. One of the side things that I wanted to bring up, and this is just me trying to get an understanding of localizing as much as possible. My background is heavily from a hospitality standpoint, so understanding how important local agriculture, localism, local farming is within our community. I have reached out to the Greater Lansing Food Bank to procure seeds for us to, and my goal, of course, a goal is a lofty thing, and sometimes you don't meet your goals, but my goal is to have 500 family gardens this year and 10 community gardens. So if you want to share with your employees and see if someone family-wise would be interested in a community garden, there are seeds available for that at no cost. It just is a matter of making sure that we're trying to localize the best possible. We are going to likely have some sort of sponsorship package if companies wanted to sponsor a family for $50 to be able to make sure that they have the shovel or the equipment needed. And I'm going to be reaching out to the local hardware stores to see if I can somehow do more online purchasing from them to be able to create these kits and try to stimulate their businesses as well. So just trying to think the best possible about helping everybody. And I appreciate, again, this opportunity to talk about this, Justin. Do you have any questions immediately? And if you do, feel free to, I sent Justin an informational email I'm sure he'll send out to everyone. It has my email in there. It's actually linked. If you just click on my name, it'll take you to my email. So if you are interested in possibly hearing more about a community garden project, reach out to me.
Thank you, Emily. And let's hold questions on that to the end of the call. And Emily did send me some additional information via email, and I'm going to send that out to everybody very, very shortly. So thank you for that. As we all know, we're fighting wars on multiple fronts. We've been fighting a battle, obviously, on the business front. Our healthcare workers are fighting too, but kudos to Emily and the United Way and our nonprofits for what they're doing to help people in our community at this time with their needs. So thank you, Emily, for all you're doing. Let's jump into some business stuff. And the big news really this morning that we talked about yesterday, but it's going to become even bigger now, is this Paycheck Protection Program. I am really coming to believe that this is going to be the signature program that is going to help a lot of our businesses get through. So we went into it extensively yesterday. I do want to recap it a little bit, though, for people that are just learning about it. This was part of the stimulus package. It is a loan from the government, the federal government, that can be forgiven if certain parameters are met and turned into a grant. So that is the general premise. And what it is, a company needs to work with a lender that is familiar with SBA, works with SBA, the Small Business Administration. They work in conjunction to fill out paperwork that will then be submitted to the Small Business Administration. And what will happen is those dollars that are received are to be used for basically payroll costs, hence the name, Paycheck Protection Program. There are also some additional costs that are able to be included as well, like rent, like utilities, really operational expenses, things to keep the business going while businesses are closed or downsized. It's really a way to keep people on the payroll. And it is available for, I believe, up to 8 weeks. At least 8 weeks can be reimbursed in a grant. And it will be, as I said, I think a pretty significant way for businesses to be able to get through this without having to go into long-term debt. Now, the news from yesterday The application is now open. The paperwork, the guidance is now open. The application documents are available. Applications themselves can be filed with the federal government, with the Small Business Administration by this Friday. And I know we have some bankers on the call, and I'd welcome their thoughts maybe in the Q&A portion of this call, but possibly same-day approval and money same day. I think that is extremely ambitious and darn near impossible given the fact we're talking about the federal government here. But if it's possible some companies could see this money as quickly as Friday. So there's a lot more details to it. I'd be happy to answer questions on it in the Q&A portion. How does it get calculated? How do you get forgiven? All that. But I think it's going to be an absolute, just a huge, huge impact. What we're trying to do, SEDP, number one, is let everybody know it's available, which is critical, but also make sure people have a lender they can work with. So businesses cannot apply on their own. They have to work with a lender. And many of our businesses have existing relationships with lenders. As I said yesterday, we highly, highly recommend you work with your existing lender. If you have not talked with them about it yet, call them today. Call them this morning. Call them when this call is done. It's that important to get in touch with them. But there are those that do not have those relationships, or maybe they're with an institution that does not work with the SBA or doesn't want to. That is possible. So we have built a list, and I'm actually going to be sending out that list later today to businesses I have heard from that do not have a lender. Now, that being said, some lenders that are doing them have also notified me that they're only going to serve their existing clients first. So that is another factor for seeking a new institution. And it makes sense because I think our commercial lenders are probably going to be some of the busiest people, over the next few weeks here. And I commend, if there's any lenders on the phone, I commend you. I don't think you're going to be getting much sleep the next couple of weeks as you try to help these companies process this paperwork. So my two takeaways for you on that are: call your lender, learn more about the program, get going on it, because I think it's going to be a huge benefit. But then two, if you need a lender, let me know. Now, what could potentially stop this from being a great program? And this is the great debate that I had with a number of employers yesterday that I'm probably going to have with more today and in the coming days. One of the challenges of this program, it does require you to bring your workforce back. It's not meant to be, for buying new stuff. It's really about the workforce. The challenge is, and you guys probably know this by now, there was a massive, massive increase in the unemployment benefit. To the point now, we have pretty solid confirmation, at least in Michigan, that it looks like with the increase from the federal government, people are going to be making as much as $962 a week in unemployment. That is $600 new on top of the typical unemployment benefit of $362 a week. $962 a week is almost $25 an hour. That is now, and we have caveats with that. We know that. It's not forever. It is for 39 weeks. It doesn't include benefits. It doesn't include job security of working for a company. But how is that going to change potential employees' behavior? If I'm at home collecting that kind of a check, am I going to be motivated to go back to work? And so that could become a real barrier for companies as they try to engage in this paycheck protection program. My anticipation, and I'm not thinking about any company in particular, but my anticipation is those companies that are really good, that take care of their people, that have, good workers, that pay well, a lot of longevity, those people are going to want to go back to work for their company. Those that don't treat their people well, that don't, do things, may have a hard time. So I don't know exactly how this is all going to shake out. I mean, we are in a labor market dynamic we have never, ever seen before. So, I mean, is this going to cause companies to have to pay more money? I don't know. But that, to me, is going to be the biggest hurdle in terms of trying to get people to come back to work right now. And for businesses to take advantage of it, is you need your workers to be willing to come back and get off unemployment to make the program beneficial to you. So I talked to 3 or 4 companies about this yesterday. I'm going to have more of these conversations. I just think it's just going to be fascinating to see how this is all going to shake out. I mean, we all know we're living in a brand new world, but that dynamic is going to be, it's just going to play out here over the next few weeks, and we're just going to have to see how things go. But if I'm an employer on the call and I've laid people off and I'm looking at this program, be thinking about that. Be thinking about a strategy of convincing your people, to want to come back. Now, hopefully it'll be very easy for all of you. We have a lot of great companies in Shiawassee County that I don't think are going to have any problem getting their workers to come back. But be thinking you may have some folks that, are going to be tough to get back. So think about how you try to market to them, to convince them to come back, because you're going to need them to come back to get that money for the payroll protection. So I'll leave that comment at that. That's more of a philosophical thing, but I really think that's going to be the, and maybe I'm overplaying it, but I think that's going to be the real interesting challenge here as companies try to get engaged in doing this. So one more thing I wanted to mention. Well, actually, Jody, you're on the call. I was talking about unemployment. Is there any other unemployment issues or HR issues you want to share with the group?
Yes. I know we've had a lot of questions, and I actually was just responding to one of my emails about self-employed workers and how they file. If you go to michigan.gov now, you will actually see a big purple bar that goes across the whole front or the whole top of the page that says, notice, self-employed workers, gig workers, 1099 independent contractors, and low-wage workers do not apply at this time. Applications will be open in the next few days. So if you're self-employed or you know somebody who's been looking for that information, they're telling you not to apply yet, but they've addressed it. I mean, you can't miss it when you open up the Michigan.gov page right now. It's right at the top. So I'm going to keep watching for when that changes, and I assume it will stand right out, just like it does now. But they're telling people not to apply yet. Give it a few days. And I was on a call yesterday where I got a little bit of information kind of about the best place to find different resources. They're suggesting it was an SBDC call. So they're suggesting anything administrative level. If you're looking for resources, go to the SBDC website. They do have webinars every day at 2 this week. So if you go to their site, you can see different webinars that you can sign up for. SBAM.org, they said, is the best daily updates about legislation. The Workshare program, if you're looking for that, is really well detailed on the UIA page under Michigan.gov. So there are some good resources being built. I have noticed that pages are starting to get updated. I wasn't seeing a lot of updates early yesterday morning, but some of these have started updating some things they started updating yesterday afternoon. So Justin obviously already covered the amount for unemployment. So I think that's it for now. If you have questions, let us know, and I will do my best to get information to you. I've started some documents on my own to kind of be able to refer back to for everybody. So I think that's it for now.
Okay, thanks, Jody.
You're welcome.
there is another SBA program. We've talked about this. Here's another new thing from yesterday, the disaster loan program. So that is still active. That's been out there. But the new thing that we learned yesterday is apparently if you apply for those dollars, they quickly will front you money. I can't say how quick is quick, but they will front you $10,000 in money into your account as essentially an advance on that loan. Now, what's interesting is if you apply and don't get the loan, you get to keep the money. So that's interesting, too. I'm not quite sure still how that works, but I would still encourage companies, even if you're going down the path of this Paycheck Protection Program through SBA, don't forget about the other one, because the Paycheck Protection does encompass critical things like, payroll and rent and utilities, but businesses have other expenses, too, that aren't going to be covered under that program, which the disaster loan could be. Now, that's a loan, not a potential grant like the other, but that may be something you want to look at as well. So I did want to let you know that $10,000 advance, that is something new we learned about yesterday. So, and guys, I know this is a lot of information. Things are changing daily, trying to figure out which program is which. As I said, that's why, we've tried to serve as an advisor, but I highly, highly recommend if you are not in touch with your lender, talk to them today, or if you don't have a lender, please get with us, because your lender is going to be the one that's going to help you navigate a lot of this. So just a couple of other things. I do want to give you an update. I did yesterday, but a little further update on the MEDC grants and loans. The grants, we are hoping to have announcements by Thursday. We did talk regionally yesterday on the applications and trying to get some things finalized in terms of paperwork and all that, but no announcements will be made until Thursday on that. We are also trying to figure out what to do with the loans. The loans are going to be much, much tougher. I think I talked about that simply because that's $10 million statewide that's available. And the loan requests were a lot more than the grant requests. They were $50,000 to $200,000. So we're trying to work with our friends at MEDC right now to figure out how to do that. But the grant announcement will be coming Thursday. So look for more here. I think that's tomorrow already. So I don't know. The days fly by, everybody. The other couple things I want to mention, and these are just things that I continue to reiterate every day. Our friends at Memorial, always continually looking for equipment, masks, gowns, ventilators, shoe covers, all that kind of fun stuff. It's not fun, but, basically everything that they need, it's just a continual need. So please, if you have any equipment, if you need, information on what they need, please let us know. I'll probably send out another email later today with a listing of that. But if you have anything to donate, please let us know. And then on top of that, I mention this every day as well, the Pure Michigan Business Connect program through our friends at MEDC. They are trying to help companies that want to get into producing these products, so not just donating these products, but producing them. If you want to get engaged, learn about partnership opportunities, learn about potential buyers out there, they have a platform they've created to be able to do that. And as I've said before, we've had probably now 10 Shiawassee County businesses that are engaged with that are actively working on trying to get into the medical field. And so I'm going to continue to mention it because I think it's such a need. We're going to need this equipment for quite a long time. So if any companies want to figure out how to supply a good or service to the medical field, please let us know. And as I said, I'll send out some more information by email about that platform And then the last thing I'll mention, once again, I say this every day, jobs, companies still hiring. A lot of people still want to work. And so I am doing a few job postings on my social media for those that follow me there. But if you have employment opportunities, please let us know. We want to be able to share those. Chris Schuler from Michigan Works shared a few yesterday as well on the phone. So with that, I'll take a breath. It's a lot of information, obviously, but please, if anyone has any questions or comments, now is the time.
Justin?
Mm-hmm.
It's Rich Doherty.
Hey, Rich.
Hi. I heard something about with probably the SBA loans. I'm not sure, but I think it's those, that there may be some requirements for union labor. Do you know of anything like that?
About what, Rich?
About requirements for union labor. So if you don't have a union in your shop, you may not be able to get some of it.
No, I don't know. I've heard nothing about that.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's just checking in on it. So.
Yep. No, thank you. And if you find some documentation that, signifies that, but nope, there's nothing in there that has any type of requirement that I see at this point. I haven't seen any guidance regarding that.
Sure.
Justin,
Okay.
Thank
this
you.
is Jody. I just wanted to point out, let Rich know that today's topic for the SBDC seminars is the SBA loan programs. So if you go to the sbdcmichigan.org site, you can register for a webinar where you can learn more about the SBA loan programs at 2 today.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Jody,
welcome.
can you, I don't know if I have that message. Can you send that to me and I can pass that along to the group here this morning?
Yes, what I will send you is the link to the page where you can register for webinars. They're all day, and then you can actually access all of the webinars they've already done. So I will send you that link right now.
Okay, thank you.
Justin?
Yeah.
Just a quick comment. I've been able to get the source, and it looks like we have a distributor for the healthcare products that I've been telling you about. So, when we find out when things can happen, I'll let you know, because there'll be a spigot that'll turn on, and it's a large amount of flow. So
Great.
Okay.
Good work, Rick.
We'll keep you
Thank
informed. Yep.
Super. Thank you.
Justin, Mike Shiawassee Beach.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, yesterday I was going through my email list, and it didn't come directly from you, but I found an excellent webinar regarding the Triple P, the Paycheck Protection Program. Send it to your email address right now. It might help the group out. It's a law firm called Butzel Long, and it basically covers, and maybe a duplicate of what Jody was just talking about, but who's eligible, what can the loan be used for, so on and so forth. It was about an hour long, but it was very detailed and very understandable. It was awesome. So if it helps the group, send it. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Justin, this is John from AHP.
Hey, John.
With what Mike just commented on, that basically covers all like the eligible costs and what the portion is forgiven, or is there like a calculation that would be included in that email from Mr. Gillette? Maybe a question more for Mike, I guess.
Well, from my understanding, what the lawyers had said, the calculation was based on 2.5 times your payroll, but it was supposed to be intended to cover 4 months. So there was a little bit of discrepancy between what was going to be covered and what the government was expecting you to cover as a business owner. So they didn't really have a clear answer regarding that.
Cloudy as everything, I'm sure.
Yeah,
right.
John, I'm looking at another document out on Saturday, I believe. Once again, the days go by. So what I'm seeing here, how is the forgiveness amount calculated? And I'm just going to read you what it says. Forgiveness, which basically means it turns into a grant. Forgiveness on a covered loan is equal to the sum of the following payroll costs incurred during the covered 8-week period. So you get 8 weeks basically that you can turn into a grant, 2 months. And it's compared to the previous year or time period, proportionate to maintaining employees and wages. So basically what you can count, and you have to document this and provide this paperwork during the time period, it's payroll costs plus any payment of interest on any covered mortgage obligation, plus any payment or on any covered rent obligation, plus any covered utility payment. So it's your payroll, a mortgage if you have one, a rent if you're leasing a building or something, and utilities. So that's a pretty, I mean, that's not everything a business spends money on, but that's a pretty comprehensive list. So basically, my understanding is what will happen, you basically take all your documentation on all those expenses over that, I guess, first 8-week time period, and you turn that in through your lender, I believe, and at that point, your loan is forgiven, or at least that portion of the loan is forgiven. You could borrow, to Mike Gillette's point, you can actually borrow 2.5 times your payroll. So that obviously would be payroll, rent, and other things. So it's possible you could get more money than what you need on that 8 week, but that's going to be the general calculation, is you're going to get forgiven 8 weeks of those expenses. So paperwork's going to be critical.
All right, and do we know exactly what payroll costs include? I assume it includes like retirement benefits paid, health premiums paid and whatnot. Does it have a list of that, or is that just assumed?
It does, yeah. It's what costs are eligible: compensation, payment for vacation, parental, family, medical, or sick leave, allowance for dismissal or separation, payment required for the provisions of health care benefits, including insurance premiums, payment of any retirement benefit, and payment of state or local tax assessed on the compensation of employees. So, once again, pretty much everything a company does to compensate their workers, from retirement, health care, vacation, all that, that's covered. I will say what is not eligible, you can't compensate over $100,000, which, you know, there's not that many people that are making that much money in Shiawassee County. There are some, but not many. Compensation of employees whose residence is outside of the U.S., and there's a couple of other tax things that you would probably know, John, but it's really basically 100,000 is the cap, you know, for the wages, but everything else gets included.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Other comments, questions? I don't know if there's any lenders left on the phone. If you guys want to make any comments, hopefully I'm hitting the right points, and I'm anybody want to comment on that, or any other questions?
Yeah, Justin Berry here at APTEC. I will say Chase Bank on this payroll protection program sent something out last night. So if you're a Chase Bank customer, you should have had something with some pretty good links to get set up to start the process. They indicate April 3 is the earliest they're going to be releasing money, and April 10 for the self-employed.
Okay. Good.
Hi, this is Gabrielle from Sightner Boat Lifts and Docks. I have a question about the loan.
Sure.
Maybe you guys covered it already in a previous call, but so from what I've read is you apply for the loan, let's say you apply on Friday, and then let's say they approve it, you know, in 2 days. Then what if we are not allowed to have our employees back? Because obviously making docks, we are non-essential. Everybody is at home right now. So then I wouldn't necessarily have any payroll costs. So do I get to pick my 8-week time frame, or should I delay applying for the loan until it looks like the state may open up again? I guess I'm not sure how to navigate that line.
Great question, Gabrielle. Thanks for joining on the call. So my understanding of this program is why they're doing this is they want you, not you personally, they want business to rehire people even if you're not working. So they want you to bring people back on your payroll and basically pay them, for not working, because this will turn into a grant. So your motivation to hire people back, even if they're not working, is this money will turn into a grant. So you're going to want to do that, basically. So I guess the premise here would be, obviously you got to crunch the numbers and all that. But that would be the premise. Now, the issue is going to be, and this is something I had a conversation with a couple companies yesterday, is what happens if you want to bring all your people back and they don't want to come back? And that's where this issue of, do they want to stay on unemployment? Now, the way the act reads, and wording is very critical here, obviously, the way the act reads is a company has to make an effort to bring all their people back. You basically have to offer, if you want to go for this, you have to offer to bring everybody back. But my reading of it is they don't all have to come back. I mean, you don't have to have 100% of your workforce come back for you to get access to these dollars. That being said, the fewer people that come back, the less you're able to benefit financially from the Paycheck Protection Program. So, it's a tough situation, but, I'm encouraging it because, as I said, since this has the opportunity to turn into a grant, to go from being a loan into a grant, I'm hoping employers will be motivated to bring people back on the payroll, even if they're not working, because they know that money's going to turn into a grant. If it stayed a loan, then that would be much tougher, because why would I, as a business, go borrow money to keep people on my payroll and they're not working? Let them be on unemployment. But if it turns into a grant, I don't have to pay it back, then it makes sense to think about bringing it back on even if they're not working. So that's a long answer to a short question, but I think that's kind of how companies need to be thinking about this.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Well, Justin, also to throw in there too, this is Mike from Fifth Third, that some of the other expenses that you're allowed to use as part of this loan that would be forgiven as well. So you're talking about rent payments, mortgage payments, things like that. I mean, that's another incentive to, yes, maybe pay your employees while they're at home, but you also can roll in some of your other operating payments to keep you afloat.
Yeah, that's critical. I mean, this is it's, even though it is focused, you're right, Mike, even though it's focused on, payroll, I mean, those other, costs are there. So, and Mike, you want to add anything? Thank you. I know we've been in communication by email quite a bit. Thank you for what you're doing at Fifth Third on this. Anything more you want to add on this?
No, I mean, other than there's still more communication to come out from SBA. There's a lot of conflicting information about there that your major newspaper publications are providing based on what we're hearing direct from SBA. So as business owners, be patient. I know the other lenders would probably say the same thing. We're going to get up and running to help support. As soon as we know all the information, we'll definitely get it out to the group so everybody will be on the same page.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate all your work. I know you and a lot of my, as I said, a lot of my banker friends are going to be probably not sleeping a lot over the next few weeks as you try to help all of our companies get this process. Any other questions or comments from the group?
Hey, Justin, Dennis Murphy from Independence Business Consulting. Thank you so much for all the information you've been getting.
Sure.
It's been crucial to my clients. So there's probably a question for Mike at Fifth Third. Investment real estate revenue loss for the PPP, is it eligible?
investment real estate loss?
So yeah, I've got a client that owns several strip malls. So of course, every tenant is calling and saying they can't pay. So are they eligible for any type of financing from the PPP program? They can on the idle. But I actually got some information stating that they were ineligible from another bank. And I can't get clarity from the SBA. Any thoughts on that?
The idea behind PPP is to cover payroll and salaries, right? So self-employed workers, things like that. So I'm going to guess that it's all going to depend on how that rental income flows through his return, if he's cutting himself a paycheck or if he's taking it out of the business. But to recover the lost, that's going to be a sticky situation. It's all going to depend on that. So yes, the other SBA financing is going to be available for different things, but from a grant or a forgiveness portion, it's all dependent on wages. It's not necessarily to cover lost income.
Right, and obviously he's got a management crew that needs to be paid, and he's going to have CapEx, just in dealing with some of this stuff. But of course, he has no revenue, or at least a drastic loss in revenue.
So my guess, the portion that they would target to be covered would be the payroll for himself and the management company as a result of the lost revenue. So I don't think he would be able to roll in any of that lost revenue unless he's claiming it as a check.
All right, so the EIDL will be his primary.
Yeah, I mean, that's all speculation based on what we have heard coming out of the SBA. There isn't, I mean, final answer will be hopefully on Friday, but that would be my guess.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Dennis, here's my recommendation. Once again, I'm not the banker here on the call, but my knowledge, I would encourage two things. Number one, that is where that other SBA program, even though it's not a grant, that disaster loan program, that may become another tool that could be used in conjunction to help cover some of those losses. But two, what I would do if I was the owner of these shopping centers is I would be going to the tenants and saying, go make sure you're applying for this so you can get money to pay me.
We're already doing that. Absolutely.
Good.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank you, Dennis. Good question out there.
Randy Beatty at Tickler.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, question here. When they talk, I'm looking at the application, and they keep saying purposes for calculating average monthly payroll, excluding $100,000 cost, usually using 2019 payroll. They say payroll, and to me that means salary. What's being paid during payday for gross pay. But then they talk about taxes and healthcare and stuff. When they say healthcare, it's not clear whether they also mean including healthcare costs and things like that in this average monthly payroll. Is anybody able to clarify that?
Well, what I'm looking at here, Randy, it says eligible costs. You've got compensation, but it also is payment required for the provisions of group healthcare benefits, including insurance premiums. So, and it also includes payment for vacation, parental, family, medical, or sick leave, payment of any retirement benefit. So it really is, I mean, basically everything you spend your money on with your employees every 2 weeks, all those different line items on that paycheck, where that money goes to, even payment of state or local taxes included is eligible expense.
Didn't mention federal tax, FICA and FUTA and stuff on that line.
Nope, I do not see federal tax as an eligible expense.
Now, is that where it's saying how to calculate? Well,
here's what it's gonna. I'm looking at another part of my document here. How do I get forgiveness on my loan? So you have to apply through your lender. It has to include documentation verifying the number of employees on payroll and pay rates, including IRS payroll, tax filings, and state income, payroll, and unemployment insurance filings. And then you need documentation verifying payments on covered mortgage obligations, lease obligations, and utilities. And then you also need certification from a representative of your business that is authorized to certify that it's true and that the amount is being forgiven. It's used in accordance with the program's guidelines. So basically, you're going to have to track all that information.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at the part of calculating that, average monthly payroll thing, as they call it, to set the dollar amount of your loan. I want to make sure I'm not including stuff I shouldn't be. Okay. Thank you, Justin.
Thanks, Randy. Other comments, questions from anybody?
Yeah, Mike with SLH here.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Justin, I just wanted to say thank you for all your hard work. You and your team are doing a bang-up job in a trying time, and we appreciate all your effort. It's really heartening to see all the people come together. So keep it up.
Thank you, Mike. It's a tough time for everybody right now, and I'm, as you guys see from all my emails and the calls and social media and all that, I'm just trying to get the information out to you guys as quick as possible so you can make the best decision. But hearing comments like that, definitely, I appreciate it, and it helps keep me going. So thank you. All right. Any other final comments, questions, concerns from the group? Okay, so I already sent out information from Emily on the community fund from the United Way, and then Jody, I've got some information from her on the webinar today, so I will send that out too. So thank you, everybody, for jumping on, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you, Justin.